Why have I quit my job? Why have I, bought a van? And why am I going to drive around the country? Well, I'm passionate about the idea that you need to be heard. And I want to stitch these stories together across the states. We're going to find the commonalities, and it's going to be really an amazing experience, and I look forward to you joining me on the jar. Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's a fun little commercial. Just figuring out how to make this stuff work. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mental Health Today. We're sponsored by the JAR Foundation, and this is a show that we kind of aim to highlight some different people and different companies inside the mental health space and see what kind of tools are out there and what people are doing, both, stuff that's working, been around a while, new innovative stuff, and just kind of share that and make some sort of a little beehive of a reservoir of information and a little hive of, everybody's got the little space in there, and we kind of know all these little cool spots out there in the mental health space. Today, Tami's here, Tami Gilmore. Thanks for being a guest, Tami. Really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm kind of excited to hear a little bit more about your story, how you ended up doing what you're doing in the wilderness, out there having fun in the wilderness, doing mental health stuff. Tell us how you got started. Tell us a little bit about the journey and what you're doing.
Okay, I've been in the world of psychology forever. I taught high school psychology, and then I went into traditional counseling as a licensed professional counselor. I did some school counseling too. And on a training in Boulder, Colorado for compassion fatigue, they kept talking about nature therapy and talking to trees and being out in the wilderness. And I just raised my hand and I was like, what is that? And how do I sign up? And what I could do what I love, helping people, and still get to be outside doing it. It sounded like a no-brainer to me. And I had signed up for the training within a week and signed up. And so it's been wonderful. It's like nature is our co-therapist, and I still do traditional therapy in the office, but seeing the benefits of being outside just for an hour session, and especially for a weekend or longer, it's just been really incredible. And it's something that people can do on their own, sit in their backyard and just really get grounded. Like you hear about, getting grounded. Well, you literally can get on the ground and get grounded when you're outside. So I've studied all things from nature-based therapy, wilderness therapy, eco-psychology, and so I feel like I'm rambling now.
No, it's kind of interesting. I want to actually, even while you're kind of still, you got a lot going on in the head. I want to actually, when you said it, and I just saw something the last couple of days, grounded. And, there are so many things I'm now finding as an adult that have some sort of actual real meaning behind them. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of this material or talk around the scientific part about being grounded, literally feet touching the ground, and the electricity, the being connected, truly being grounded. Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing.
Yeah. You guys, have you studied that or looked at that? Because that's a part of the science as well as what your observations are.
And that's what I love. Myself and other people that I know that love nature have always known we feel better when we're out in it.
Yes.
Now there's just so much science behind it. There's something called the 3-day effect that Strayer did from the University of Utah. And
what's that?
It's like all of the bonus things that happen when you're immersed into nature for 3 days. And I think I read about it in The Nature Fix, which is a great book by Florence Henderson. And she, anyway, they took an author out there who had writer's block.
Okay.
Because nature's believed to boost creativity. And the list of benefits, we'd be here for days and days and days for me to list all the benefits of just being in nature. Just not even consciously, because wilderness therapy is consciously incorporating nature with the therapeutic process. but just
Okay.
being out there unconsciously, like it does
Hmm.
amazing things for us. So once you incorporate it, then then it's I mean it's just the benefits are over the top. But we see like forest bathing. Have you ever heard of forest bathing?
No, no.
Well, that the Japanese came up with forest bathing, and I believe it was in the 70s or 80s when they had people, young age people in their 30s dying of overwork. I forget
Yes,
the
yes.
Japanese name for it. So they started studying forest bathing. It literally means just a walk in the forest.
Okay.
And so they started studying it and seeing like the benefits of it. And they put EEGs on people's heads and, check their blood pressure and their blood sugar and their, all of the physical things that would happen. And it like decreases stress hormones for sure is one of the top benefits that we always talk about.
Yes.
But one thing I thought was really cool is they found out for if you walk in the forest for 20 minutes, you will burn off 12% of your stress hormones. But if you sit in the forest or the woods for 20 minutes, you burn off 13%. So 1% more by sitting. So having a sit spot of just being out there, being a part of nature, just melts away that stress.
That's a shout.
So
That's a that's a nature bath.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's a nature bath. So it's yeah, it sounds cooler when you say forest bathing, like you think
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
get a
Yeah.
waterfall or something, but it's not
Japanese
quite,
always have cool names for stuff.
right?
Uh,
So there's the research is abundant of on now that it's just more and more coming out of like, oh yeah, this is why this happens. And just recently, I had a burnout retreat. It was like a 3 day in Broken Bow,
okay.
Oklahoma, and there was a man there. I almost said young man, but he's 70 plus, and he had had an injury right before, so he couldn't even really hike with us. But he did the sit spot, and then we kind of like see the whole person when we're there. We
Hmm.
nourishing food, organic food. We feed people, and then they get connection with. Others, and then the therapeutic work in nature that we're doing. And he left. He said he had never felt so satisfied with food, and he just knew he was going to gain weight. He had lost 5 pounds, and he sat in nature. He had lost 5 pounds. His blood sugar was lower, and he just said that he felt grounded for so much longer. And that's what they found, like in the 3 day effect. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like really excited about this topic.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's really
So,
good. It's and I'm excited about it because I got have my own real connection to nature. Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So it's like they see that how long you're in nature, like, and then how long the benefits last you
Okay.
days and
Yes.
weeks afterwards. Like even boosting your immune system. During all the pandemic, that was like, oh, that's what we need to do because it boosts your immune system and our natural killer cells that kill virus and cancer cells. So it boosts those when you go in nature. And then they were like, is it the walk or is it nature? But they had people walk in the city and
Oh.
in forested areas, and there was the difference, a huge difference.
I don't need to do a study for that. I've walked in the city. My dopamine does not go in the right direction. My stress levels are usually jacked because I'm trying to I'm trying to navigate cracks and everything else and horns and
Right.
yeah. No, I don't need to study that. A walk in
Yes.
nature is not the same as walking in the city.
Right, right. So it's very meditative. Like for ADHD, the calming
Hmm.
benefits of being out there and focus, easy attention. Our attention spans are terrible, but being out in nature, all those things are restorative. It's like literally resets our whole entire system. And there's a, a pyramid, like there's a
Hmm.
food pyramid, but there's a nature
Yeah.
pyramid of how much you should get, or not should, but would be beneficial for you to get
Okay.
is so like 20 minutes a day, and then like on a weekend a several hour hike, and like once a week, and then they go to once a month, like a couple days a little bit more out in the woods. And then they highly recommend um who's they there's some people who study these
Yeah.
things, but the immersing yourself for 3 days or more, and that's where you get like the 3 day effect that can boost lots of amazing things. And
Hmm.
decrease the negative stuff of the stress hormones. And doing that once or twice a year is really highly recommended.
I would, yeah. I mean, it is an amazing, and we're so, I mean, it feels like we're out, a lot more people are out of touch, and more people are in the city than before.
Hmm.
Have you have you seen a change in the people that come to you over the years? Have you seen a change in what they're searching for or what kind of stress they have when they come?
Yes, in fact, well, I've only been doing adding the nature piece for like about 8 years,
Mm,
and so and it really depends on the person. I have some friends who are
yeah.
indoorsy, and they don't they don't appreciate that. But I can tell you that there's something called a window of tolerance, and a window of
Okay.
tolerance is when people are able to heal and do their work is about right here.
Okay.
And then if they're too depressed down here, like they can spend a whole hour in session and not even remember what happened or like get no benefit from it, or they can be up here super anxious, same thing. So I will ask people to go outside. And I don't even know if this is answering your question, but I will ask people if they will go outside and walk for 10 minutes with me or to be outside for 10 minutes. And then they're like, it's not going to help because I don't like outdoors. And then when I bring them back in, it's like night and day. They're like, I hate to admit it, but okay, I feel better and I can do the work.
I can listen. I can sit and listen. I can sit. That's interesting. So
Hmm.
just you can take them. I mean, that's too unplugging in a way, right? I mean, you're
Yeah.
getting out of the hum and the buzz of what's going on inside of a building, and
Hmm.
getting grounded. I spent I spent quite a bit of time on the road in the first part of doing my traveling podcast, The Jar,
Very cool.
the Jar one, and it was a solid 8 months and a pretty manic schedule. Not much time for thinking or reflecting. I mean, there were days and days here and there, but a lot of that was also kind of reflecting on the guests and and all the other work doing. But I spent about it didn't take long in my sister's lake house. She had a sunroom, and she parked me there for a couple of weeks. And the
Wow.
sunroom just stared out over this forest of pines and a little
Mm,
lake in the background. And I was literally in nature. I mean, like not touching it, but I was in it. Um, and of course, went down to the lake, every day. But it was absolutely reflective and immersive. And my brain calmed down. I slowed down, and I had some really good. And it's where I came up with the idea of this podcast. It's where I came up with launching the foundation.
mm.
The mental health part kind of just thunderstruck me. It was like, duh, that's what you should be doing. So it was.
Yeah,
I mean, so I have some recent real life experience
that's
of
incredible.
just being immersed in this. I mean, I still have the picture in my mind, right? This gorgeous sunroom, and all I
Woo.
could see, and I just put my laptop in front of me, and I just stared in this huge forest of trees, and I had that, that hum, the hum of
Yeah.
the earth. It was the noise that I heard.
Yeah, so I'm so excited that you shared that because it's so true, and then that like you said, I came up with the idea to do it. M What I believe is it's in there, but
It's
we
yeah,
don't slow down enough to listen
yes.
and be quiet and still to hear it, so that's another thing we do is, like, kind of like, what's your purpose in life and,
Oh, I love it.
following your North Star, your compass, like, when you're on your path and designing future, chapters of your
Mm,
life. And so
right.
it's allowing, and all the answers are inside you. It's just imagine, it's about getting in there and listening to that and giving
Mm,
yourself time and space. And nature just makes such a wonderful thing. And then because you said you're in the sunroom, looking at nature, even like through windows, but also pictures of nature can help. So if you're in a city or an apartment, if you can put pictures of nature, type
wow.
in essential oils. Cypress is really good. That we've seen that people have like lots of great benefits from having those natural oils in their house and not even going outside. So you can get some of the health benefits that way
I
too.
Yeah, your mind's pretty good, right? If you smell the pine, like a real cedar or like the cypress, you
Mhm.
smell like some big ass forest smells. You
Yes.
would that would send your mind racing.
And I love what you said that you can still picture it and be there. So our mind, that's a
Absolutely.
wonderful place to go in your mind. And I just had that happen just this weekend. We did like a 2 day and the woman was just blown away. She said, "This is the best retreat I've ever been on my life." And I'm not like bragging about us. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nature. It
Yeah,
is.
it's not yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, she said, "I still imagine myself walking down that trail to the river and, the dog coming up beside me. And she said, when I do that, I just ground and I'm immediately back there. So, so thinking about nature,
Mm.
looking at pictures of nature, smelling nature, and 2 minutes outside. I have like, if I get super stressed and don't get my time outside, um, I even, I'm a therapist and I find myself going, gosh, what is wrong with me? And then I'll take out the trash, which is like a minute outside. And then I already feel better. And I was like, this is what you teach, girl. Why are
Oh
you not doing
God, it's
it?
so funny when you like you have your own realization. Like, oh yeah, I guess it does work. Begrudgingly,
Right.
all right, it does.
I'm going to eat my lunch outside and then I'll feel better. So, but
It's
yeah,
funny. Sometimes we do miss so many I think of just how many opportunities I've missed, and just being reminded,
yes.
how important nature is. I mean, I had a great. Some of my drive was, I had some great driving moments, so I have some great nature moments.
Oh,
But stopping and smelling the roses,
oh my
boy,
goodness.
some of these phrases, you start remembering these phrases, and you're going, "There's some magic smelling the roses."
Yes, stopping and pausing, and it doesn't take, I
Yes,
mean, yes, the big immersion in nature is
yes,
great, but that 2 minutes of just walking to the trash through my trees and all of that, it just immediately can come back. So, even if you only get 2 minutes outside,
yeah,
it's better than nothing, and people say, "Well, it's the weather, it's rainy or it's hot," and we believe there is no bad weather, there's just bad clothing. So, if it's raining, you wear rain gear. If
yeah,
it's
just nothing, and just go out there and then run back in after a few minutes.
Yeah, hopefully in the dark or the backyard, but
Yeah, yeah, in the backyard for sure. Yeah,
so but to answer your question that I think I totally skipped over was have you noticed any changes? And
yeah, yeah. What kind of
honestly,
change? Yeah, what kind of changes?
yeah, I've noticed that, from early on to now that more men are now seeking therapy and,
Okay.
men in executive positions and
Mm,
doctors and lawyers, and it's not as taboo,
yeah.
and and then I also like with COVID, obviously there was a huge change where people were like, "Whoa, I need this, and I need
Mm,
somebody to talk to that I can trust, that's objective." And I honestly, in this moment, if someone called me and said, "Can you recommend me to a private practice therapist?" My private practice schedule is full, and everyone I know, their schedule is
I
full.
know.
So it's so hard to get people in. It's
This
just
is
yeah.
this is one of the rough things, and I think it's the telehealth is going to help a lot. That'll onboard a lot of
Yes.
people into the space, and I think
Mhm.
provide some first taste and first touch. And for some people, that will be maybe all they need. Um, but hopefully we can onboard and get more people into the therapist role. So we've got that face to
Mhm.
face option for more people. It's really I've looked at some of the stats on the number per I forget what the number of therapists per thousand that they've got listed, but the actual and that number, I can't remember what I looked at it. You may know it, but I saw it and that looked like a pretty like that was a weak number. It was like, wow, one therapist for like 70,000 people or something crazy. Or I
Mm,
forget what the
oh,
number was.
wow.
Or seven, maybe not even 7,000. Can't remember the number, but it was like that seems awfully low. Like the ratio not very
Yeah.
good, not good enough. And then they were only at 27% nationwide on the number of therapists to the number of people
Mhm.
based on that stat.
I totally believe it, and I mean, it's just heartbreaking that people are now saying, "Yeah, I want this," and then
I
there's just not enough services out there. There aren't enough services.
Yeah,
So
it's tough, and I've had quite a few my last few guests, um, were all pretty rough stories, like people that really need in-person therapy, like, you know,
mm,
they need real help, like, they got some real stuff to unpack and work on, and, I don't think that's gonna be done. I'm not a professional, but I don't think that's gonna be done on a Zoom call. I think there's a lot of work that could be done, but some stuff strikes me as being things I need to sit down with somebody in a room.
and I'll tell
Um,
you that I thought that with COVID, I was like, "Oh, no," like because I had to switch and see a lot of people online, obviously,
mhm,
and I was really worried about it, and and there are some disadvantages, of course, like, you
Yeah,
can't see
yeah,
all
for
the
sure.
person's body language and things like that and energetically, but um, it's not been as bad as I thought. And then a lot of people, some people have said, I can share things with you online that I might be too uncomfortable sharing with
I
you in a room.
I for sure I would get that. I mean, that's definitely
Yeah,
a cool thing about social media, or not social media, but about this kind of platform.
yeah,
Yeah, it's less embarrassing somehow.
yeah. It's like I feel they feel like a little protection,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and then you want to build up and then allow them to be able to have a real human connection that's not on the computer too. But sometimes it takes a long time to get there because there a lot of people don't. I would say the majority of the people I see are 40 plus and mostly 50 plus now. I think as I get older, they keep getting older too. But and it's like they're like, why now? Why does this stuff bother me now? It happened so far ago. It's because we're so resilient and you're able to keep that stuff in and keep it in.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden now you have this free time and you're older and it's all wants to come up.
Oh,
And so um, it's a lot to unpack. Lots of years of negative messages and
yes.
heartbreak and just like even labels of I'm depressed or like I don't like labels in that way. It's like you have a depressed part. You have a part of you that's depressed
Yes,
because that
right,
you need to
right,
work on. But you are not
right.
depressed. You are, Ken. You are so right. So
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the I had a great discussion with Chuck Hall and a couple other and one other individual, and they both were gentlemen my age, roughly, and they both recently found out they were on the autism scale.
oh, I have a lot of clients that are.
Yeah, and it was interesting, and so as we were talking through, and he was telling me the website to go to, we're kind of promoting that, go get self-tested and everything else, and at the end, I kinda went, I was like, I was gung ho. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna run through that," and then because we pretty much self-diagnosed on the call. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm on the scale for sure."
We're all on the spectrum.
We're He described a few of the things, and I'm like, "Yeah, oh, really? That too? Oh, yeah, that one too. Damn, okay, that's a pretty high likelihood." And then I said, I woke up the next day or that night and laying in the shower or something, sitting in the shower and just went, "That's my secret sauce. I don't wanna know. I don't want to label.
So I
It's
just
me.
recently, I recently
It's
saw a
me."
meme, and no, it wasn't a meme. It was like a comedian that she's hilarious. I can't remember her name right now, but her husband is on the spectrum, and she was giving an example of how he acted, and then she asked at the bottom, she's like, autistic or man? And I forget that it was
Oh,
greatness
that's
because the example was like, that's a tough one. I don't
yeah.
know if
Ooh.
being a man or being
Yeah,
autistic.
what's the affliction here?
Right.
Di help me diagnose this behavior. Oh, good God. Yeah, yeah, so that was it. I just decided, yeah, no label for me. It's my secret sauce.
There
So
you go. It's
I
a
don't
good
need a
secret.
I don't need a label. It's my own. It's just who I am, and it's what makes me me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As long as it's not getting in the way of life and causing me other troubles, which I seem to have offended enough people not so badly to this level.
There you go. So,
I just try to stay inside that lane, right? I'll try to stay within that bandwidth
right.
as we go through. How do people find you? What You're in Texas, and then but you do
Mhm.
sounds like you do retreats, outside of Texas.
I
How does it
do.
work? How do you find people for
Well,
those?
I'm on Instagram, Tami Gilmore. But
Okay.
we've been trying to, we've had a lot of requests for glamping because a lot of people want to shower in a bed. So we've added some of those. And we're actually doing one in Acadia National Park in Maine in June that I'm super excited about.
Wow.
And that's like the ocean meets the mountains. So you
Oh,
get the best of
man.
both worlds.
Man.
And we're
I
staying in yurts. It's greatness.
The ocean's electric to me with all those the waves crashing and all the ions and stuff smashing around in those waves, and
Right.
it's just the ocean's magic.
It is.
Even those kind of mountainy, coldy, a little bit, rainish kind of Portland coast or something is
Yeah.
still magic.
See,
Um,
I'm calming as you're even talking about the magic of the
oh,
ocean. I
I'm
feel it.
feeling it too, right? I'm getting reminding of California, the just the waves crashing, that sound, that rolling thunder,
Yes,
right?
yeah. I just went
And
to Hawaii for my 60th birthday, and literally, I just did not want to come home.
I,
That
yeah,
the coast and there's so much coast in Hawaii,
yeah, yeah.
but it really is like I feel like a different person after I do that also.
Hmm.
So that
So that's
excited.
full. I would imagine that retreat's full.
It is not full. We are
Wow,
open.
holy cow!
Yeah. So it's and all
And
and
is it? Can people find it on the website here?
they can find it on the website. There's more detailed information if you sign up for the list because
Hmm.
I have the most incredible website designer. He is amazing. He is super busy, and so when that happens, when we have planned stuff, it doesn't always get on the website really super
Hmm.
fast. And so, yeah, and my email is Tammy at wilderness retreats.com and or info at wilderness retreats.com. And then Tami Gilmore on Instagram I have a lot of information there.
Okay.
So yeah, just call me because it's going to be amazing. And the title of this one though is specific. It's designing the next chapter of your life. So it's spending time in nature again, doing what you did when you heard your message, like, hey, this is what I need to do, is like being out there, what's ending for you and letting go of. And so it's like people that may be going to be retiring, big changes in their
Hmm.
life or big decades. Like when I turned 60, that was my thing. It was like, okay, I have lived more life than I have left. And I want it to be very meaningful and intentional. So I want to design that. What is it? What do I
Hmm.
want it to
I
look like?
love
Who
that.
am I now? So, and then there's the period in the middle that's like the liminal period or the
Yeah.
cocoon or incubation of like just listening, which it sounds
Okay.
again like you've already done. So yeah, you can.
Yeah. I've done some listening. I've done some listening.
So we're that's what we'll be doing in Maine, but we'll be having a little fun and having Bar Harbor fun food and
Yeah.
like seeing some of the sights and there's so many different areas. Cadillac Mountain, it's the first sunrise. I keep saying sunset, first sunrise in the east. So new beginnings, spring, all of that.
Man, powerful.
So that's yeah.
All right. I'm pausing my cities. I'm coming with. I'm coming pausing my cities.
What you're doing sounds so exciting. And when I heard your commercial, I was like, oh my gosh. And as far as takeaways go, what you said is
Hmm.
like people want to be seen and heard, and you're doing that. Oh,
Absolutely. People
that's
have
awesome.
stories. They want to tell their stories.
They
And they
do.
deserve, I mean, people deserve a chance to be heard. And I think the other thing, we're doing is, I mean, listening to people, I try to say it like this, being heard
Hmm.
for an hour and a half is super cathartic just in itself,
Yes.
because it's very difficult to get a two-way conversation where, you're really the one um, speaking, right? And you do that. I mean, in therapy, it's really a lot of that. And and then the questions are interesting because they're things we think about, but they seldom articulate.
Hmm.
So that,
Hmm.
it's this big jam full jar of questions, and it's got all these heavy topics in it, and it just peels people back like an onion. I mean, the jar is brutal. Well, yesterday was just, I mean, it was a rough session for me and the guest, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, her questions were really hard. I mean, her story was hard. It was going to come out
Mm.
anyway, but boy, man, she did not get any fluffy questions. She was really truly being used as a vehicle to tell her story.
Wow.
And it's a powerful story, and one of hope in the end. you know like you said, people are freaking resilient, right? I mean,
Oh,
I am so I'm
I
like,
that's
I get
yeah,
in my
especially
van
I'm so
after.
inspired.
Yeah, we got out to the van, and the van had a flat tire at the end of the whole thing, right? We got outside the front yard, and my van's there, and I got, yeah, it's like, it's travel life, right? Brand new tires on the back, and one of them's just dead flat. But thankfully, I've got this big ass van with four tires in the back, so I could drive it. I could limp to a tire shop. But that's not gonna. After I come out of there and I hear her life story, I got a flat tire. It's like that's really pretty small in the scheme of things when you think
Right,
about life stuff and resilient. If you can't get over that small thing in life, you're not very resilient. And I see
right.
and I hear people's stories of resiliency, and it's just so inspiring.
It is. That's what people were like, "It must be hard listening to people's problems all day," and I was like, "Absolutely not." Hearing their stories
Yes,
and their journey and seeing how strong they are and the things
yes,
they've overcome, like,
right.
wow, it's so inspiring, so inspiring.
You just said everything that I've discovered, Tammy, over, hearing their stories is so inspiring. You're just like, damn, how are you still showing up every day? Right? It
Yeah,
just, you
it's
really look at
yeah,
humans and you're like, Jesus, that was a shitty life. Like, why are you, how are you still here? Like, I could see you really legitimately trying to end your life. Like, I could understand, like, it's not the right thing to do, but I mean, I could understand how you would end up in that situation. And the fact that you come through that moment a few times, and somehow
yeah.
creep out of it second by second is the resiliency of wanting, wanting something better and wanting, I think people feel like they were dealt a shitty hand and every card that's going to flip might be their card,
Oh, I like that.
right? It's like they're still showing up to the gambling table. It's like, I
Yeah,
haven't given up on this game yet and
yeah,
hoping for that card to flip over that's a little bit better, give them a little bit better outcome.
that's
Well,
right.
Tammy, awesome conversation.
This
Um,
was great, thanks. I
thanks so
feel like I
much.
went off on a lot of stuff, so thank
You
you for
you went out yet.
your
I mean,
patience.
you shared some great stuff, and I think the message is powerful about nature. I would encourage people. I think the biggest takeaway is to get registered, send you an email, get your email in with you, so you can find out about these retreats because it sounds like a absolutely fantastic time.
I would love it. And we do some online classes that,
Mm,
that so that's wherever you are, you could do that too. And then giving you things to do to you can go yourself out into nature on a wander. We do gratitude wanders with your inner critic, with
okay.
your inner child,
Mm.
and so instructions on all of that, and so hopefully some of that stuff is on our website too. That would be beneficial.
Yeah, or chase Tammy at wilderness dash
Please,
retreats.
I would love to hear from anybody.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah, passion, purpose. This is what it feels like
When
doing
you're
this.
living, I know. It's fantastic. Really, again, thanks, Tammy. Cool story and cool stuff. So this show is live now. It'll upload to I think to Facebook, to LinkedIn, and to YouTube. And
Awesome.
you can find the video there, and then about another week or so, we'll get out the kind of traditional audio format on all the channels.
That is
So everybody,
amazing. Thank you.
yeah, everybody can find this copy of this episode somewhere, and we'll get you hooked up. I'm going to run a little commercial. I'll meet you on the other side.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Yeah, thanks everybody for supporting the Mental Health Today show. And if you know anybody that should be a guest, please do find me on LinkedIn or anywhere else.
Yeah, loose, baby.
But we're about to go and make this vessel with these great professionals at Public Glass. We're not part of the community, but we're from the outer family of glass blowing. Yeah, we're going to go make a magical giant jar with optic lenses so that if you turn it, it changes all the time. So if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Come